we were of course interested in how the COVID-19 results of the infection in myeloma patients is, because the data, of course, are largely unknown or very largely unknown. So we were interested in that particularly. We gathered data from 371 patients with myeloma who were infected with COVID-19 during especially the second and third wave of COVID-19 in our country. That means from roughly October 2020 until the end of May this year. So that was basically the purpose of that, to get the results of the infection and the survival of these patients. Okay, so we in the Czech Republic are using our registry of monoclonal gammopathies that gathers roughly data right now from 10,000 patients with monoclonal gammopathies, including myeloma patients. So that's the major source of the information. Since, of course, this is the retrospective analysis, then all the clinical and treatment-related data, as well as COVID-related data, are input in this registry. So that's the basic method of mining the data from these patients. All right, so of course, major findings and the major interest was the mortality of the infection in these patients. So we found that roughly 1/4 of patients, so that means 25% of patients, die at the end of the day directly to COVID or soon after this infection. So that's quite a huge number and quite a huge amount of these patients. Another thing is that, of course, roughly half of the patients with COVID need inpatient treatment, so need to be hospitalized for some time at least. So the utilization of healthcare is very high in these patients. And out of those who stay in the hospital, of course, the mortality is 50%. So whoever enters the gates of the hospital has half the chance to die on COVID. So that reflects probably the seriousness of these events in these patients. So I think these are the key issues that we found, and that's what was our major interest. We are concluding, of course, that this is the disease that needs to be prevented. That these patients are especially vulnerable population. On the other hand, we were not able to find any major differences in survival of patients with different kinds of treatment, with different kinds of comorbidities. Only slightly older patients were more likely to die than the younger ones, but the difference is was just 5 years or so. So this was not really striking and not really surprising that the older, of course, died. But in terms of treatment-related and disease-related parameters, the groups were about the same. So it was surprising that there was no major thing to observe to find any risk factor who is likely to die or not. So just all of them are at the same risk, and all of them need to be closely prevented from this disease, not only this one, of course.